Hi Mary, how are you today?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. Is this your first time coming to counseling?
Yes.
Okay, so what I want to do is I just want to go over some things that you might be unfamiliar with. So what's said in my office stays in my office, unless I feel that you're going to hurt yourself or someone else. But other than that, I want you to feel like this is like a safe zone, okay? Do you have any questions for me before we get started?
No.
Okay, so what I need you to do is I just need you to sign this sheet of paper, which basically states that you understand the confidentiality limits and your client rights, okay?
Okay.
Great, let's get started.
Okay.
So what brings you in today?
Well, my anxiety. I've always been an anxious person, just kind of general about really anything, whether it be, social situations. But my biggest anxiety is with tests. I just always get super nervous and worried before them and just constantly think about them even far in advance.
Okay, so I just want to let you know that you're not alone in this issue. There's all sorts of stress at the collegiate level. I mean, there's a lot of pressure, you're away from home. So I just want to let you know that you're not alone, and I'm glad that you came in today so we can, explore your anxiety a little bit more and hopefully get you to feel a little bit more comfortable when those tests are coming around. So because this is your first time in counseling, and I want to be able to help you as much as I can. So what we're going to do is in this session, I want to create a problem list with you. So you stated that you're here today because of your test anxiety. So I'm going to put that on the problem list. Is there anything else that you would like to explore, or do you want to just focus on that?
I think just that for today.
Okay, so I'll have it on our list. Perfect. So can you explain to me a little bit more about your test anxiety? Did you just have a test? Do you have one coming up? Help me get a feel of what's going on.
Well, I've had test anxiety all throughout middle and high school, and now I'm in my second semester of my first year at college. And in one of my classes that I do okay in, I had a test 3 weeks ago, and I have one in a couple weeks, which I'm already starting to think about, just because I have other classes. And this test coming up is a pretty big deal. Like, it's worth a good portion of our grade. So of course, I want to do well. I don't want, my parents to be disappointed or my professor to be disappointed in me. So I'm already starting to just worry and think about, will I have enough time to study? Will I get enough sleep the night before? Will I know every question on the test? I'm just really worried about the uncertainty and just kind of like the unpredictability of tests in general.
Okay.
And I just get so nervous about if I'll do well.
Okay. And just a quick question, your history of test taking, do you tend to do well on tests? Are you a poor test taker? Could that associate with your anxiety? Where do you fall on that?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm the best at taking tests. I know some people don't even have to study and they do well. But for me, I definitely really need to, take the time and study for multiple nights beforehand, just to retain all the information. But yeah, I've never been good with standardized testing. I just, take a long time. I'm pretty slow. I take my time.
So would you say that you having to study hard and in your words, aren't the best test taker? Do you think that adds to your anxiety a little bit because you have to put in a little bit more effort than, say, maybe a classmate?
Yeah, I would say so. And I'm also usually thinking about, like how are my other classmates studying?
Okay.
And maybe like, they're studying longer, or they're studying material that I missed in class one day or didn't catch from the professor talking. So I think not being a good test taker definitely affects my anxiety, and just being an anxious person in general, not very relaxed, I think also plays
into it. Okay, so on our list I have situation, thoughts, and emotions. So we already discovered the situation, which is your test anxiety. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to explore your thoughts prior, during, and after your test. So I want you to tell me, what are your thoughts prior to you taking a test?
Let's see, before, like an hour before the class, an hour before the test?
An hour, a day, because you said that you have one coming up in 2 weeks and you're already feeling anxious. So,
Right.
so what's going through your mind when you know that you have a test coming up?
Well, right now, I don't feel too anxious, but it's definitely starting to kick in. I think like a week away, it'll definitely increase more. I would say a day in advance, a day before the test, I just start having all these like nervous thoughts, like will I have enough time to study? Will I do well? Will I get enough sleep? Will I be able to get enough sleep tonight? And wake up feeling, refreshed. What if there's a question on the test I can't answer? What if I just get stuck on one question and then focus all my time on that and then leave little time for the other questions? What if I do poorly, and like I said, this is worth a good portion of my grade. What if I do poorly and then this just affects my overall grade for the semester and then affects my GPA for the semester? So that's usually what I'm thinking, a day ahead. An hour,
Basically right up until you're
an hour I can't even really talk to anyone. I'm just solely thinking about the test. I don't want any contact with anyone.
Okay. So I'm just gonna repeat back to you some of the things that I wrote down from what you said associated with, your thoughts prior to a test. So you ask yourself, will I do well? What if there's a question on there I can't answer? What if I focus too much on a question and I don't leave time for other questions? And, how will this affect my GPA? These tests mean a lot. Sometimes you only just have a test and a paper. So they weigh a lot in your grade. And will this affect my GPA? And you stated before that you were doing well. So you obviously, that is a big thought to have in your mind on the GPA. So, okay. Prior. So let's go a little bit further. Now, what are your thoughts when you're actually taking the test? Like in the process of taking the test, it's in front of you, you're reading the questions. Do you get a sense of relief because you're reading questions and you know the answer? Or is it the total opposite where you still have those thoughts like, oh no, I'm not going to do good. I don't know any of this material.
Well, I definitely don't feel relief.
Okay.
I still feel anxious. I usually like to go through the test in the beginning when I first get it, just to have an idea of what I'll be having to answer.
Okay.
Multiple choice questions kind of freak me out because usually I'm always stuck between two answers. But at least with short answer open-ended, I can explain myself. So usually while I'm stuck on one question, I'll maybe circle it and move on. And then usually when I keep going through the test, I think about all the other multiple choice questions I circle, and I'm like, oh shoot, I still have to go back. Usually while I'm taking the test, I also always look at the clock and just kind of give myself, the countdown, how much longer do I have? And then when there's 10 minutes left, I just do my best to work as quickly as I can. Like I said, I'm a pretty slow test taker, so I like to take my time and double check. So usually at the end I always try to double check, but sometimes I run out of time, so I just have to hand it in. But yeah.
So that's the majority of what's going through your mind during the test. So you said you like to go through the test before. What's going through your mind is you are constantly looking at the clock. You think, how much longer do I have? Did I answer all the previous questions correctly? Do I have to go back and re-look at them? Is that pretty much the gist of it during? Basically what I got from that is your constant thought is basically on time. You just want to make sure you have enough time to do things because you're thorough. You want to be thorough with your work. Okay. And now after the test is over, you handed it in, you're walking out of the classroom, do you feel, it's done, I'm done?
Depends. Usually I feel like I made a mistake and I'm like, why did I second guess myself?
Okay, so that's
why did
the
I
thought.
circle A and not B?
Okay.
usually I get hung up on either, you know, one or two multiple choice questions that I was stuck on, or maybe I'm thinking I could have written more on a short answer or open-ended or even an essay question. And the big thing is, you know, did I do well? And I also think, will my grade reflect all, you know, the hard work and effort I put in? Because I feel like, you know, I have good study habits. You know, I work hard. I study alone. I study with classmates. But I still feel like, you know, did I do enough? Was like.
Okay, so it's not a sense of relief after the test. So what I got from you is you ask yourself, you know, why did I circle this answer instead of this answer? Did I make a mistake? Could I have written more on that essay question? Will this test reflect all my hard work that I put into this semester? So yeah, I mean, that's a lot weighing on someone. And, you know, you would think that after a test you might feel a sense of relief, but it, to me, seems like you're kind of becoming so hung up on that test until you probably get the grade back, right? So you're feeling this anxiousness until you get that grade back. Okay, so we went over all your thoughts prior, during, and after, which I feel that you were very open and honest with, which I appreciate, you know, you coming to me and, you know, giving me all that. So we're going to go back to prior, and this is where we're going to talk about your emotions. So thoughts and emotions are different, and I want to explain that to you. Your thoughts are what you just gave to me. During, you know, before a test, you said, will I do well? What if I don't know an answer? What if I focus too much on one question? Will I have enough time? So those were your thoughts, okay? Now I want you to branch off of that and tell me, what are your feelings? So what are your feelings associated with when you're saying to yourself, will I do well? What if I don't know an answer to the question? Like what feelings are associated with those thoughts?
I guess really just worry, feel worried. I feel, I guess, just nervous, maybe just like embarrassed if I made a silly mistake, if I get the test back and I see that I had second guessed myself, and also maybe stupid for getting such an easy multiple choice question wrong.
So these are all the emotions that you're feeling prior to you taking a test. Before you even are in the classroom, you're feeling worried, embarrassed, nervous, a sense of stupidness, maybe because if you didn't study hard enough.
Right.
That's all those things that are going for you that you're feeling prior to a test. Okay, now, again, let's explore that a little bit more. Now, when you're actually taking the test, what are you feeling? So you said your thoughts were, what if I spend too much time on one question? I'm thinking about a prior question that I answered. So what are you feeling during the test taking process?
Still definitely nervous and worried. Almost like scared, like what if I circle this and it's wrong? And
nervous, worried, scared.
Yeah, mainly that.
Okay. And for the last scenario that we talked about today, we talked about, your thoughts after the test. And this one, I feel like this is when, from just what I'm gathering today, is when you have a lot of your anxious thoughts is afterwards. So you say, why did I circle A instead of B? Did I make a mistake? How will this reflect my grade, even though I put in all this hard work? And could I have written more on my essay? So I'm curious, what are your feelings associated with these thoughts after you take the test?
Well, I feel like I'm still nervous just for getting the grade back.
So nervous throughout the whole process?
Yeah, definitely nervous and worried throughout. But I do feel a little sense of relief, I think.
Okay.
But I almost want to speed up time to find out my grade.
So your sense of relief is that the test is over, but then you still have that worried anxiousness because you don't know how you did on that test.
Right.
Okay. So basically your emotions throughout the whole process is worried, nervous, embarrassed, scared, a little sense of relief, but not enough to put you over the edge to make you feel better.
Right.
Okay, so what I want to do is I want you to talk back to me about how you can make your unhealthy thoughts, prior, during, and after into healthy thoughts. So what I want you for each thing, just give me one positive thought that you can tell yourself before you're taking the test. What's something positive that you can, boost yourself up before you take a test?
Maybe I studied a long time, and I slept well last night, and I should be feeling confident because I know a lot of the material.
Awesome. And what about during? What's something that you can lift yourself up during the test to make you maybe not worry about time so much and be confident in those answers that you knew that you studied?
I guess I could tell myself, you're already halfway through the test and you knew a lot of the questions so far, and halfway there, halfway left, just kind of try to be optimistic that I'll know the rest and be able to answer the rest well.
Good. And what about after? So after is when we kind of agreed on that's when your anxiousness weighs in the most for you.
Right.
So what's some positivity that you can give to yourself after the test to maybe give you that full sense of relief so that you're not just weighing in on this one test when I'm sure you have other things that you want to do, people you want to see. So what can you tell yourself?
I guess that it's over, and I finished it all. I answered every question, did my best. I guess I could say it was only one test, even though it's worth a lot, there's still other things that go into my grade. And yeah, this isn't my only class, and I have other classes that I can do well in if I don't feel as confident.
Right, good. So I'm glad that you came in today. I'm glad that we took the time to really branch out and explore your thoughts and emotions associated with your test anxiety. I think you made a lot of progress. I was really impressed with, how open you were and how well you were able to associate your emotions with your thoughts. So you stated before that you have the test in 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, in 2 weeks.
Okay, so what I want you to do for me from now until we meet again, which if you agree, do you feel that you'd want to come in again before your test?
I think so.
Okay, perfect. So what I want you to do is I want you to come in 2 days before your test. But in the meantime, what I would want you to do is make your own situation, thoughts, and emotions chart. Up until from now until we meet. Because you did great today, but I'm sure you're still going to have some of those anxious feelings coming up. So what I want you to do is definitely, do what we did today on your own. Try to chart it every day if you can. And when you come in next, I want you to bring it in and I want to process it with you. And I want to do the same thing. I want to go over the thoughts, the feelings associated with those thoughts. And hopefully that can help alleviate some of your test anxiety for your test in the next couple days. Does that sound good?
Yeah, it does.
All right, well, I look forward to seeing you.
Yeah, thank you.